So you know what I love, but I've never really brought up before? I really love the Ernest movies. You see, as a kid, I always adored the Ernest films of just how wacky they were, and they always have a special place in my heart. All of the films really do have like a very special place for me in my heart, and it's so much fun. They are really so much fun, even when they're scaring the ever-loving crap out of you. And I can think of no movie better that shows that than Ernest Scared Stupid. And let's face it, it's the only movie that scares the crap out of you. When I first saw that movie, I was like disturbed by that first kid getting Shang Tsung'd by the troll. So that kind of, and also I'm kind of watching it right now. I'm watching Ernest Scared Stupid. It's now part of my Halloween repertoire, so to speak. So in here, for this video, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do a crossover video where basically I'm going to be doing a crossover video with Ernest Meets the Evil Dead. Yeah. After how Hocus Pocus versus Army of Darkness, I was like, you know what, I feel like doing another Evil Dead Army of Darkness video after how well the other one was well received. Plus, I haven't done anything with Ernest, and we're in the middle of spooky season now, so what better way to do this than to do a full-on, let's go all the fuck out on an Ernest video. Ernest Meets the Evil Dead. Let's see how well this goes. So Ernest Meets the Evil Dead is basically a story where Ernest is part of a repo group, of a repo team who are sent into the depths of Tennessee in order to the bank is repossessed. That term's going to be very used, very much used differently in very shortly. But basically, in this story, is that Ernest is part of this repo group, and he is sent to clean out a building that is being repossessed out in the middle of the Tennessee woods, and to claim whatever is in there and take it, basically clean it out before the bank comes over, takes it, and bulldozes it for land. So Ernest, being Ernest, is like, well, I will do my due diligence as a member of society, cleaning up buildings, making sure that all is well when the bank comes to claim the building. And you can probably guess where this is going. So in the story, Ernest goes to the cabin alone, and already he's kind of getting like a spooky vibe. He's already like thinking like, this is kind of weird, this is kind of creepy. What is going on out there? Like, what is out there, and should I be worried about it? Like, should I be like disturbed by whatever is out there in the woods? Well, he pays no mind to it, and while he's cleaning out the building, he basically is knocking around in there, and he discovers the book. He discovers the Necronomicon, and he's looking through it, and he's like, ew. He's just flipping through the pages, and he's like, this don't make a lick of sense. But then he starts to see that it's getting dark, and he's like, well, it's too far away for, to me to, drive back and all this, so I'll just stay the night. Ain't like nothing's gonna happen here. So while he's just chilling at the cabin and looking through the book, he's like, I can't understand. Is this like a coloring book? Is this like it's a weird one of them? It must be one of them adult coloring books. Later on, he discovers a tape recorder. He discovers the recorder, and basically he hits play, and the professor's voice comes on, and it's exactly what happens. Ernest inadvertently awakens the evil, the Deadites deep within the woods, and they come for him. Now, Ernest being, well, Ernest, is that Ernest is prepared for whatever kind of, insanity in there. So basically from here on out, it more or less becomes like a like a Looney Tunes cartoon of Ernest basically taking the place of Ash to stop the Deadites. Because when you really think about it, when you when it really comes down to it, it really like half the time it really does feel like Ernest could easily be like an Ash character. He's more like a toned down version of Ash when you really think about it. And I could definitely see him like doing some of the things Ash does, but without the, you know, just bodily dismemberment on it or cutting off his own hand. So throughout the story, Ernest is more or less trying to keep the Deadites out. He's trying to keep the Deadites from out of the cabin, and he's like, he gets the Kandarian dagger, and he's like, ooh, this is fancy. Like earlier, when he found it, he's like, ooh, fancy knife. I wonder if I can use it like a toothpick, you know what I mean? So, throughout the story, Ernest is besieged by various demons. He's besieged by demons. He even tries to run out in the wood. He's like, I will stand tall. I am the line of humanity's last line of defense against these monsters. 2 seconds later, he's just running out of the cabin. He's just running out of the cabin screaming. And that's when the trees grab him, and he's like, hey, let me go. Don't touch me there. I'm a miner. Stop. He gets free. He used the dagger to cut himself loose, run back to the cabin, and he more or less is trying to tell himself in the mirror, he's like, oh, man, this is crazy. I need to get a hold of myself. And then his reflection pops out and starts slapping him, and he's like, yeah, that's not going to happen, pal. And he's like, who are you tell me? Get a grip of yourself. And they just Ernest starts a slap fight with the Deadite image of himself. So that's kind of the story, is that Ernest is just going, you know, bumbling his way through the entire night and waiting until dawn to keeping the Deadites from trying to possess him. He sees like the boomstick, and he's like, nah. He actually like tries to use it, and he like tries to shoot, and he's like, and just uses it like a club and beats a Deadite away. He then finds the chainsaw, can't find any gas, and he's like, and tries to scare him away. It doesn't work. So what he does use outside of the dagger to protect himself is a nail gun. So he's using the nail gun on the Deadites, and he's also using a plunger, because of course Ernest would use a plunger to protect himself from a demonic horde. So by this, so at one point Ernest does get possessed by a Deadite, but it immediately leaves his body, because and then the Deadite goes, that dude is way too stupid to be used as a host. We cannot, you know, this guy's too dumb to be a host. You know, come on, guys, this is useless. And by that point, the sun comes up, and Ernest is like, huh, I made it. I have conquered the day. I have won. Humanity won. Forces of evil, 0. Now, the moment the dawn does break is that he puts the book back down there, the dagger, the recorder. He's like, well, I can't see, you know, I can't let the forces of evil, you know, anyone come near this cabin again. And, you know, what do? I can't let the bank claim it. Someone else might stumble upon it. I know what must be done. He chucks all the stuff in the cellar, puts a do not disturb sign, like a little paper that says do not, you know, don't open evil inside, and leaves. Unfortunately, the paper gets blown away by a surprise gust of wind, and at that point, as Ernest is walking home after a long night of battling the evil dead, a car drives by him, and yes, this is turns out to be a prequel to the first Evil Dead movie. There you go. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much my Ernest Meets the Evil Dead story. You guys tell me in the comments below. What do you guys think of it? I'm curious to know how many people are Ernest fans in the comments. This is my first time ever doing an Ernest video, so this ought to be interesting. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.